Welcome back. As promised, let's straight away get to our list of top 10 stocks to watch out for this Thursday morning. And hitting it off the charts is what else but Kotak Mahindra Bank. Abhishek, good morning. Kotak is finding many ways to stay in the headlines of late. Tell us.
Mr. KVS Manian has submitted his resignation and it has been accepted with immediate effect, although in his letter he did write to give him a time frame and details as to how he'll exit, but it's been accepted by immediate effect. He ceases to be a director and key managerial personnel in Kotak Mahindra Bank. Now, in his letter, he mentioned that he intends to move on ahead, and he also wrote that it's time for the next chapter, and he's moving ahead with belief and optimism that he can yet again find a fulfilling assignment. So on 15th of February 2024, CNBC-TV18 had reported that Federal Bank has shortlisted KVS Manian as the CEO candidate along with two internal candidates as well. We had written to Federal Bank. Their response was, this process is overseen by the board in accordance with their succession plan, is what they told us. And incidentally, today is Federal Bank's board meeting, which will be held for their Q4 FY24 as well as FY24 results. And they have also mentioned that they will also discuss future plans and key initiatives in this board meet. Back to you.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Abhishek. So that's a stock we'll be tracking. I'm tracking Ambuja Cements. They came out with their numbers yesterday. And we already had Sanghi Industries as well as ACC. So we're looking at the standalone numbers. And on the top line, it was more or less in line. The EBITDA was a bit of a miss because the margins that we were working with were around 19%. It did come in anywhere close to that. And the profit after tax as well was lower. Let's explain why, in fact, these numbers go down as a miss. If the top line is in line, but volumes are better, that told you that realizations declined more than expected. Point number one. Point number two is that, in fact, the realizations on a sequential basis were down close to around 7%. As of now, Ambuja has more of its exposure to West India and not South India. So that's why we were factoring in maybe the decline will not be as much. The other problem was that 11% of the clinker capacity was shut. So that's what hurt them as well. That's why purchases were much higher in this quarter. The stock will open up in the red, but the street could look through these numbers because they say that their expansion is on track. They're going to move from 79 million tons as a consolidated entity to 140 million tons. And they're sitting on cash of 24,000 crores on a consolidated basis. So stock opens up in the red, but I'll be interested to see whether or not there is some bottom fishing at lower levels. Last few days, the stock corrected from 650 to 620 rupees odd. But auto stocks, they'll be in focus because we had the sales volumes numbers that came us. Sudarshan joins us to help us out with a quick analysis on a couple of those names. Morning, Sudarshan.
Morning, Nigel. So if you talk about the overall trend from the month of April for auto companies, sales are mixed and can be divided into three parts. For passenger vehicles, demand was muted. For commercial vehicles, it saw an improvement, and for two-wheelers, strong run has continued. Now coming to stock-wise sales, starting with Maruti, going with red color, as total sales have fallen month on month, and it has fallen for 3 consecutive months. Total sales have seen low single-digit growth of 5% year-on-year, but have come in below estimates. For Tata Motors, I'm going with green, as total sales are higher than estimates, led by commercial vehicles, which is up 31% year-on-year. But for the company, passenger vehicle sales have seen low single-digit growth, and total sales have come in at 77,521 units. Eicher Motors going with red, as Royal Enfield sales have come almost in line with estimates, while commercial vehicle sales have remained weak. CV sales have slipped 18%, while Royal Enfield sales are up 12% year-on-year. Talking about outperformers of this month, starting with TVS, total sales are above both estimates and higher month-on-month and year-on-year. Total sales have risen 25% year-on-year to 3.83 lakh units. For Hero 2, April was a strong month, saw a healthy growth of 35% year-on-year, and the demand was led by 125cc and 400+cc segments.
All right, so thanks very much for that. Coming back to you for more. But let's go back to Abhishek. Cholamandalam reported numbers, and it's a good set once again on what's arguably a high base. Abhishek, morning.
Morning, Prashant. It's a robust quarter for Cholamandalam, and it has seen a turnaround under, Valiant Subia. So, robust quarter, credit cost is at 8-quarter low, net interest margin is at 4-quarter high, and, you have a 13-quarter low gross NPA ratio. Credit cost has come in at 0.5% when compared to 1% in the previous quarter. Net interest margin has improved to 7.8% versus 7.4% in the previous quarter. The only flip side in the result was the cost-to-income ratio or the operating efficiency, that's at the highest in 8 years or even more, coming in at 44.7% when compared to 42% in the previous quarter. Strong business momentum, disbursements up 17.9% YOY and 10.7% sequentially. AUM growth is pretty robust at 36.7% YOY and 8.8% quarter-on-quarter. Kotak Securities was estimating 35% growth in the AUM on a YOY basis and about 7% sequentially. So it has been above estimate of analysts. And 13-quarter low gross NPA ratio, it's declined to 3.54 versus 3.94 in the previous quarter. Back to you.
Okay, so ticking all the boxes, that's Cholamandalam Investments. Thanks very much for that, Abhishek. In fact, we'll be speaking with the management of Cholamandalam at 9:30 a.m. Talk about the performance and, of course, the outlook for the current year. Let's quickly move on and get to Havells. Vamakshi is joining in with the Q4 report card. Vamakshi was looking good, and for a change, even Lloyd's did not disappoint.
Well, absolutely. It would be a good set of numbers from Havells. In fact, the numbers, like you rightly pointed out, were better than what the street was expecting and what we were expecting as well. It is a beat across the board. Revenues has seen a jump of almost 12.1%, and this jump is largely being led by a 14% jump in the cables business and 14.6% jump in the ECDs. Muted growth, however, was seen in lighting and fixtures as the price erosion continues for this segment. Nevertheless, the company's operational performance was quite good. EBITDA margin improved to 11.7%. The net profit also came in nearly 24% higher for the company. What's good this time around, barring ECDs, all business segments have reported improvement in margins. Lloyd, in fact, also has reported EBIT margin of almost 2.7%, and this has come in after reporting losses in 10 consecutive quarters. But however, when we look at the valuations, they are above historical averages. The one-year forward PE for Havells is at 62.1 times as compared to a 5-year average of 52.4 times. Nevertheless, a good set of numbers might keep the stock point in the trading session today.
Okay, thanks for that, Vamakshi. Well, let's wind this down with Rima, who's here to tell us about Indus Stars as well as India Mart. Morning, Rima.
Hi, good morning. Let me start with Indus Stars, and here there are two big positives. One, the jump in the EBITDA. The EBITDA margins for the company have come in at 57%, which compares with 50% quarter-on-quarter. The reason for that is some reversal due to the past provision write-back. Remember, for Vodafone Idea, the company has been making some, write-offs. Now, they've received part of those past dues amounting to 361 crores. Therefore, the company reversed that, and that led to the jump in the EBITDA, which is why, despite a flat top line, the company's bottom line has gone up by 20%. Secondly, the tower additions in Q4 are the highest that we've seen in the last 3 years, and the company in the conference call indicated that this is on account of Bharti's expansion in the rural area. The other one I was looking at is India Mart, where it's a steady set of numbers. Top line growth of 17%, some margin expansion on a year-on-year basis, driving a 44% jump in the company's profitability. Back to you.
All right, Rima, thanks very much for that. Well, in fact, we had the management of India Mart joining us at 10:15 later this morning, so don't miss that one. Adani Wilmar is the next one we focused on. Mangalam is here with details on that. Mangalam, morning.
Good morning. So good results coming in for Adani Wilmar. The company had given their fourth quarter update as well, and out there as well, they had spoken about volume growth. But importantly, what the results tell you is that there is strong operational performance improvement as well. Where the overall revenues were down about 4.5%, the EBITDA has actually jumped by over 200%, and that's largely because the company has exhausted some of its high-cost oil inventory, and palm oil prices are lower as well. And as a result of which, the net profit was up around 67.5%. Edible oil volumes for the company were up 11%. Food and FMCG volumes as well grew by about 13%. So in the edible oil business, the EBIT jumped by about 205%. The FMCG business as well saw 16% revenue growth with a 175% EBIT growth. All of that was coupled with a 60 basis points market share improvement in both their refined oil segment as well as the wheat flour market share as well. So all these things point to a positive move for Adani Wilmar. We'll also watch out for some other listed oil players as a result of these results.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Mangalam. Well, Abhishek joins us to help us out with a quick analysis on 5-star business finance. Abhishek.
Well, Five Star has reported a strong number. Just to caveat that their capital consumption is very high. In last 2 years, they have consumed more than 2,400 basis points of capital. Net interest margin has improved sequentially by almost 35-40 basis points to 17.2% versus 16.8% in the previous quarter. Disbursal growth is robust at 20.5% YOY and about 10.5% sequentially. That has helped the AUM growth as well. AUM growth has come in at 39.5% YOY and about 8% sequentially. So that NII has come in at 481 crore, which is up 33% YOY and about 9.1% sequentially. Healthy profitability as well, which is grown by almost 40% YOY and about close to 9% sequentially. Back to you.
Okay, got that. Thank you, Abhishek, very much for that. So let's quickly recap our list of top stocks to watch today. The ones that have positive news flow are Hero Moto, Cholamandalam, Indus Towers, Adani Wilmar, Havells, Indemart, and Five Star Business Finance, while stocks with negative news flow around them are Kotak Mahindra Bank, Ambuja Cements, and Maruti. Well, those are the key stocks to watch. Let's move on and get all the commodity cues of the morning. We have Manisha Gupta joining in for exactly that. Manisha, good morning. I think equity markets at least will be rejoicing that fall in oil prices. What's on your radar?
Well, yes. You know, the markets are reacting to the U.S. Fed meeting announcements yesterday. It was on expected lines, but the lines suggesting that, there is no indication of rate cuts anytime soon is something that the street is looking at. The crude oil prices fell 3% overnight, and they're down by 8% in last 1 month now. Well, the increase in U.S. inventories and U.S. production and easing geopolitics, all of that really seems to be weighing onto the markets right now. But it would be the summer demand in the month of May and June that would decide the prices going forward. There is some profit taking that we are looking at in metals also. While it has been a stellar April, the month of May has started slightly on a weaker note for many of these metals. So whether it's gold, silver, or copper, which has now come off its $10,000 a ton level, also has seen some declines coming into the market. Same is the case with steel, which fell 2% yesterday. Zinc, aluminum, all of that trading slightly in the negative in Asia right now.
All right, Manisha, thanks very much for that. So that's commodities with Manisha, and that's something we will revisit as we go along. But